Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation on financial behaviors of university students completed for the module IE2024 Probability Statistics. I am Dulwan, Sehanya and Sevmi is our team. Let's begin our study by looking at the research problem. University students often find it difficult to manage their finances. Some track their expenses consistently while others do not care about it. Our study aims to investigate their spending habits and saving patterns and the factors influencing their financial behavior. This will help us to understand whether tracking expenses actually make a difference. The main objective of our study is to analyze and understand financial behavior among university students. We also focus on four objectives: identifying where students spend the most, evaluation of peer influence on spending, examine connection between income, spending and savings, accessing budgeting habits and financial awareness. Our target population consisted of undergraduate students at SLIT from age 16 to 24 plus, representing various years of study. This helps us to capture a broad and accurate picture of student financial behavior. We used convenience sampling method, distributing the survey through a Google form. We collected data from over 100 students and ensuring sufficient sample for statistical analysis. We begin with the monthly allowance. The average monthly income of a student is around 16,600. This helps us to understand the financial capacity of a student and how it influences their spending habits. Here we see that 51% of students track their expenses while 49 are do not. This nearly even split allows us to compare both groups meaningfully. This slide shows how often students check their expenses. A majority check occasionally, while fewer students check regularly. This indicates that financial monitoring varies widely among students. Now I will hand over this session to Sehanya to continue our presentation.
Now we can discuss the main categories students spend their money. First, we found the students spend their money on six main things. They are food and drinks, fashion and clothes, transport, electronic, study related materials, and entertainment. Now we can see how much money students spend on each category. Food is the most important category. Almost half of all students spend more than 5,000 rupees on food and drinks in every month. In this chart shows the food is major cost. For clothing, spending is more spread out. No single group is majority. Meaning students have very different spending habits on fashion. For other categories like entertainment, transport, most students spend less. Here, we can see some students spend a small amount on fun. Over 70% spend less than 3,000 rupees on entertainment. For transport, the spending is mixed. A significant number of students spend a medium amount between 1,000 and 5,000 rupees. This chart shows that electronic are not big monthly expense. Almost half of the students spend like less than 1,000 rupees. For study materials, the spending is focused. The largest group, 43%, spend a medium amount between 1,000 and 3,000 rupees. Spending on things like electronic and study materials is usually low. This shows these are not their main financial issues. Now we can see the most in spending categories in student. This chart makes a main finding very clear. When asked for their single biggest expense, almost two-thirds of all students, about 64%, said food. No other category come close. Let's see friend influence spending habits. This chart is simple. It shows the social influence is strong. We also found that friends play a big role. The majority of students, about 62%, said their friends affect their spending decisions. Finally, we can discuss how often students buy things impulsively. Many students tend to buy things without planning. 60% say they sometimes make impulse purchase. We can hurt their ability to save. This lack of planning can make saving money difficult. In summary, spending does not differ much between groups, but saving behavior clear differ. Okay, now I will hand over to Thimali, who will explain our hypothesis testing and regression result. Thank you.
Our first hypothesis focused on whether tracking expenses has any measurable effect on how much students actually spend. To test this, we performed two sample t-tests comparing the average spending of students who track their expenses and those who don't. The results showed mean spending of non-trackers 16,377 rupees and 55 cents, mean spending of trackers 16,730 rupees and 77 cents, and a p-value of 0.8066, which is far above the standard significance threshold. Because this p-value is so high, we failed to reject the null hypothesis. So, our conclusion here is the tracking expenses does not significantly reduce monthly spending. In other words, even though some students track their budget, their final spending amount is almost the same as those who don't. Our second hypothesis examined whether tracking expenses is associated with better saving habits. For this, we used Cheekwa tests and the results were much more meaningful. We found that 82.7% of the students who track their expenses save money compared to only 57.1% of students who do not track, with a p-value of 0.0096, which is clearly statistically significant. This means there is a strong relationship between tracking and saving. So, unlike spending, saving does seem to be affected. Students who track their expenses are significantly more likely to save some portion of their monthly allowance. To strengthen these findings, we also ran two regression models. First one is linear regression. This model confirmed what we observed in the t-test. The tracking variable was not a significant predictor of total monthly spending, and the effect size was extremely small. So, once again, there is no meaningful impact on how much students spend. The second model, however, told a different story. Here, tracking had a strong and statistically significant positive effect on saving. The p-value was below 0.01, showing that tracking is a reliable predictor of whether a student save money or not. So, overall regression results support both of our hypothesis tests. Tracking does not change spending, but it strongly increases the likelihood of saving. Finally, to conclude our research, we can confidently say that tracking expenses does not reduce students' monthly spending levels. The averages are almost identical. However, tracking plays an important role in encouraging financial discipline. The students who track their spending are far more consistent in saving money, showing healthier long term financial habits. Thank you very much for taking time to watch our presentation.